What's happening, good people? This is Gift here for Payusnomind. And today we are talking about Vevo versus Spotify in music monetization, looking at different things artists could do to generate revenue for their music. Because I would say right now, man, I am a big proponent of the monetization of free. And I want to dive into just the difficulties of monetizing music in a way that everybody is pushing people toward with the whole issue with Spotify, as well as taking a look at Spotify's loud and clear, informational that they publish to showcase transparency with the industry based on how they're contributing and supporting the music business, which is just like a big propaganda thing that they issue. But we'll take a look at it and see what they're talking about in there. This video is sponsored by Mogul, where you can make sure you're collecting all of the royalties you owe and not just the ones you know about. See how much you're earning from every revenue source across your entire catalog. Connect any distributor or royalty collection entity to automatically pull in reports. Conduct your own audits by comparing and contrasting royalties for songs across revenue sources to spot discrepancies and see where money's getting stuck to the gum under the table. Mogul, I use it, so should you. Spotify and monetization on Spotify. So this is where everybody kind of like this is what everybody focuses on. And I don't even think the reason for focusing on Spotify is due to monetization. Because you got some artists who are making their living on Spotify. Can't lie about that. Some are, but most aren't. You know, for a lot of the artists that are making a lot of money from Spotify, they're making a lot more in other places, to where Spotify is just like throwing money, you know, because they're making money from performing, appearances, sponsorships, things of that nature. But looking at Spotify from the standpoint of the value that it brings from a monetary perspective, it's very not the best, you know, because the way that system works, it's effectively capped revenue. So however many subscribers they have is however many subscribers they have. The amount of people consuming music or the amount of music being consumed does not increase the revenue. So if there's only $1,000 available, that $1,000 gets split between all artists for all streams. Let's say you account for 90% of the total number of streams, and I account for 10% of the total number of streams. And there's $1,000, you get $900, I get $100. That's the way that works. And that remains true no matter the streaming breakdown. So if you get 90 streams and I get 10, it's still the same. I still get $100. If you get 9 million streams and I get 1 million streams, it's still the same. I get $100. So I could go from 100 streams to 1 million streams and still get the same $100 because the $1,000 pot has not increased and the amount of streams doesn't increase the pot. So that is one issue with Spotify. It's just the monetization structure and the pooling system. And the fact that each artist is put against each other, and the more streams you get doesn't necessarily mean more money if Spotify itself cannot bring in more revenue. And then the other end of that is you don't control how much revenue Spotify brings in. So it's not like you can say, okay, well, I got more people to come to Spotify to listen to my music, more money is going to be made. Like I said again, more people listening does not increase Spotify's revenue. They need subscribers. So if the people you're reaching out to are already Spotify users, that's not bringing in new money. That's bringing in the same money that they always had. So you got that issue. Now, when it comes to you and what you get out of Spotify in particular, there are barriers to access on Spotify. It's not just like you say, yo, Gift, go to Spotify and stream my music. I click the link, go to Spotify and can stream it. No, if I do not have a Spotify account, there's a wall there. So the first thing that's gonna happen is Spotify is gonna say, you don't have an account. So I would have to create an account, sign up. And throughout that sign up process, I'm taking away from you. Once I click the sign up, you're forgotten about. Spotify is going to send me to a page where they have all of these different artists and genres and say, select these artists and genres that you're into from the popular artists to set up my account. And then I got to like remember that I came there to listen to you in order to find my way back to you. So that's the first barrier. The first barrier is, do you have a Spotify account in the first place? And if you don't, then you can't stream. Now, if you do, it becomes a matter of, do you have a paid account or do you have a free account? Because free users do not have the ability to stream music on demand. So if somebody comes into Spotify to stream your music, they can't unless they are a premium user. So Spotify uses on-demand playback as a premium perk. That's a perk to subscribing to Spotify, being able to pick a song and listen to it. So if you look at this right here, right? Like this song from LA Mars, you know? Like, let's say I come in here and I come to listen to this song called Hard Body. I click the link to listen to this song. Now, what do I get? I don't get Hard Body. I get a song called Paid in Full by some other artist that I do not know, you know? And this is what happens on Spotify when you do not have a paid subscription. You send me, be it through ads or whatever have you, to stream your music on Spotify. I get there, and if it's a single, I click to play it, and Spotify queues up a random song from another artist that's not you, or some type of other playlist or something like that, you know? So if I'm a free user, I can't stream your music. Now I can playlist it, but playlists are a feedback loop that feeds me back the music that I listen to most often on the platform, which is the music that they serve up through the playlist, because I can't stream anything on demand. So whatever music, Drake's music, Justin Bieber's music, whatever is on the playlist that they're feeding me, that's what I'm gonna get when I put my library on shuffle. You're not gonna pop up in that. It's rare, right? So those are the two things that have a major impact on how much streams you get from Spotify. So this is why the whole thing with Spotify making it so, hey, we're not going to pay you unless you get 1,000 streams a month per song. That's what makes that particularly egregious. It's because of the fact that it's not about whether people care about your music, love your music, support your music, want to hear your music. It's about their relationship with Spotify, whether they have a Spotify account, whether they have a paid Spotify account, things of that nature. It has nothing to do with how much people are into you and your music, you know? And then that pool revenue system also caps your value, because it just effectively, whoever gets the most streams makes the most money. It's not who carries the most value. So the thing that I look at, it's like, you know how we got the Super Bowl and people spend X amount to advertise on TV regularly, right? Where it's like you got regular shows that come on every day, but the Super Bowl, people spending $7 million for a 30-second ad during the Super Bowl. So it's like, if you have a following or something like that, your value isn't maximized because it's not individualized. They're not like, well, the advertising that we run on the platform is going to be different for you as somebody who has like an audience that's super engaged than it is from everybody else. No, everybody gets the splits revenue from the same pool. Now, you compare that to YouTube. Now, I'm talking about YouTube because when you do Vevo, that's what Vevo effectively is getting your music on YouTube through Vevo. So YouTube, there is no barrier to access with YouTube. Everybody that you send to watch a video on YouTube can watch your video on YouTube, right? So what that means effectively, let's say you send 1,000 people to Spotify, maybe 10 can listen to your music. You send 1,000 people to YouTube, all 1,000 of those people can stream the music. So if they want to stream, they can. Right? And the way that breaks down the numbers, you look at something like Spotify, for example. If you were to get 1 million streams on a platform like Spotify, that might pay you around $3,000. If you got 1 million streams on YouTube, and not just YouTube, but on a platform that is like, let's say, like a web page or something like that, and they were paying you like a $20 CPM. $20 CPM basically means you're getting paid $20 for every 1,000 times your page loads or every 1,000 times somebody visits your page. If you were getting a $20 CPM, that would be like 2 cents a view. And 1 million views would drive around $20,000 for you. So you would earn about $20,000 from page views or YouTube views versus $3,000 from Spotify. Now, the big caveat with YouTube is the monetization threshold. Now, before we get into the monetization threshold, it's also a matter of just the way that YouTube monetizes, which is to individualize the revenue. So when somebody watches a video on YouTube, they run an ad on each and every video, and they split the ad revenue, 55% to you, 45% to them. So it's not a pool system where the money gets put in one pot and divvied up based on how much this guy got versus you. It's if I'm paying $10 to advertise on your video, you get 55% of that $10, which is $5.50, and YouTube takes $4.50. And that's the way that the money breaks down. So if you have a valuable audience that engages a lot and has demand, and you have people targeting your audience in particular, then your rates could go through the roof. And YouTube has sectioned off advertising with premium and like standard ads, you know, where if you're a bigger YouTuber, you get like Pepsi ads. And if you're a smaller YouTuber, you might get ads for whatever dumbness, you know, but it's tiered off. And even with that, you're still not maximizing your individual value, because it's not like something like the Super Bowl where they're looking at the individual programming and saying, no, you got to pay maximum dollars for this individual program. And they just looking at numbers and saying, here's all of the channels that get these numbers, and we're going to run these ads on these channels that get these numbers, you know? So it's still kind of like spread out amongst the group. The issue, like we say before, is the threshold. So with YouTube, if your channel is eligible for monetization, great. But if it's not eligible for monetization, then it becomes problematic because you can't monetize. So despite the fact that you could make money by just driving traffic there, you can't, because you can't monetize, right? You're not in a partner program. So Vevo is a way around that, because if your music is on YouTube through Vevo, it's automatically monetized, and you don't have to qualify for the partner program if your music is on YouTube through Vevo. So with Vevo, you sidestep all of that. Now, in the same sense that Spotify has all of these playlists and stuff like that, so does Vevo. Vevo have their editorial playlists. They also have what you call like programming on TV, things of that nature, which extends the reach of your content, you know? So I feel like there is a tremendous value that is being undervalued with Vevo versus something like Spotify. Now, the other end of this is video content. So the reason why people might focus on something like Spotify is the fact that, hey, they get to just record a song and upload the audio, and they could do whatever cover artwork, and then bang, it's up, and hopefully it gets some streams and maybe they make a little bit of money. Versus Vevo, where you got to make a music video. So this is what artists believe. But when it comes to music video distribution, it's about which company you use. So some companies that distribute to Vevo say we're only accepting music videos, like where you're moving in the video, you know, and that's what they're looking for. And others are like video file, right? And video file could be a visualizer, a lyric video, a performance video, you know, any kind of video that just ends with .mp4 versus ending in .mp3 or .wave. You know, so when it comes to that, a music video, first off, could be anything. I'll keep saying this. It could be you setting a camera on a moving flower blowing in the wind, or on rustling on leaves blowing in the wind, or on cars passing by, or setting a camera on the sky as birds fly by, or whatever have you. All of those things could be music videos. Lyric videos, all right, that might be cumbersome to put together. You know, I used to put and still do kind of like craft music, lyric videos for people. If anybody wants one, you know, you could reach out to me about having lyric videos done. Also, if you need somebody to create some type of artistic videos for your music, I could do that as well. You know, I got all of these programs, Premiere Pro, After Effects. It's just there. You know, I know how to use it. So if you want to, hey, we could rock out. But yeah, the video content is the next thing. But that's not as difficult to generate as you may believe. It's really easy to create. So once you have the content, then it's about where. Now, your options for video distribution, you got something like Horus distribution, which is like they charge, I believe, like 95 pounds to set up a Vevo channel, like one time. And then after the 95 pounds, it's $20 per video. Then you have something like DistroVid. And with DistroVid, it's $99 annually for unlimited video distribution. And with them, they take all sorts of videos, lyric videos, visualizers, anything you got, you can use with them. So there's them, there's Venice, which includes it in their distribution service, which is about like, I think it's like $4.99 a year with Venice. So it would be music video distribution, but also digital distribution and everything that comes with that, including sync and all of these other things. And a lot of these companies, we got links for in the description box, DistroVid, all of this different type of stuff. So you can check that out. But yeah, so it's getting your music video distributed, creating the music video content. But if you have the music video content and you are open to doing the video distribution, then you could absolutely make more money from Vevo than you can Spotify, right? I think the issue with how much artists can earn from Vevo is just dependent on whether artists actually send people to check their music on Vevo, and kind of force the issue a bit, because right now where everybody tends to send everybody is to Spotify. They say, hey, stream my music on Spotify. They do pre-saves and try to drive traffic to Spotify. It's so Spotify centric that, yeah, everything else can get forgotten. But these other platforms have audiences too. And with other platforms, like where we talk about how you can make more with Amazon Music, or you could make more with Apple Music or something like that. Despite the fact that you can make more, there's barriers to access, which is having a premium account. So if they're not paying for it, they can't access it. So despite the fact that you make more, you can't get people there to listen to your music. But with Vevo and YouTube and that combination, you can, because they don't need an account. If somebody goes to YouTube and they click the link, they can watch your video. They don't have to be signed in. They don't have to have an account. Ads will still play for them, all of that good stuff, man. So yeah, I think Vevo is the way to go, you know, and the way that artists should be directing traffic, where artists should be directing traffic. So it's like activating things like DistroVid if you choose to use them, or if something like Horus makes more sense for you. And with Horus and DistroVid, I think one of the big caveats there is that if you are in a country that is subject to a 30% tax because your country doesn't have a tax treaty with the US, then you would go with Horus because they would allow you to avoid that 30% tax because they're not based in the US. But if you were using DistroVid, you know, with DistroKid, you would be subject to that 30% tax, you know. But both accepts a large, like basically a multitude of video content. Venice, they're looking for like music videos, so you would have to record the birds in the sky or something to that effect. You got where everybody is being steered to in regards to monetization. So I go back, right, because I talk about Vevo and things of that nature, because my thing is, if you look at who's making billions of dollars right now, it's people who it's platforms that seemingly don't sell anything, you know, other than attention, eyeballs. So it's like you look at Facebook, you look at TikTok, you look at Twitter, you look at YouTube. These are billion-dollar corporations. And the people who are trying to leverage these platforms to sell products and stuff like that, they're making thousands, maybe, right? Some that get lucky might make millions. I don't know. That's a very small group, But for the most part, people are like what they call making a living, like they're in that wheelhouse. They're just struggling, trying to sell enough products and keep it within a range of profitability where it's like I didn't spend too much advertising and I still came out on top or whatever have you, or, things of that nature. And as we try to find products to sell, they're selling the content that we create in order to build an audience to sell the products. And they're making billions of dollars doing it. So for me, I look at it and I'm like, it's the monetization of free, baby. So it's like the same way they just have you on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, just posting content and running ads on it and making billions of dollars. It's the same way we should be leveraging that content as well. Creating our own ecosystems and bringing people into them where they consume just sponsored ads or whatever, right? Sponsorships, collaborating with brands, things of that nature. Because I tell you right now, it is way more valuable to be a content creator than an artist for that reason right there alone. So it's like you got artists who are happy to make $3,000 a year from 1,000 streams on Spotify or whatever have you. Now you got influencers or content creators on Instagram and things of that nature, and these people getting $3,000 per post, per post. Not per year, but per post. So if they put up a post for a brand or whatever once a day, that's $3,000 a day. Some of these guys that got like 1 million followers or whatever, they're pulling like $20,000 a post, $15,000 a post. Ridiculous numbers that these guys are getting paid if they have an audience on these platforms because people are paying for the eyeballs. They're paying for attention. So it's like we're scrambling and being like $3,000. Ooh, if I could get to 1 million streams, and in a lot of sense, some people spending 10 racks to get to the point where they get 1 million streams for the year to make $3,000 back. And then they'll run an ad, right, on Instagram where they show that line and they say, I was at these many streams. Now I'm at those many streams. Pay me and I'll help you spend $10,000 and make $3,000 back. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if an artist invested that money in just building up their status, let's say, right? And not to say that all artists want to do this, but building up their status on social media, they would probably make more money. But outside of that, this is where I was working on a platform that I was working on, which was to effectively have web pages and have each artist's individual track as a page, where when a visitor comes and they want to look at song 1, that's monetized with ads. They want to look at song 2, that's another page load that gets monetized with ads. And, like I said again, if it's a $20 CPM, 1 million views there will earn you $20,000 versus 3,000 views on Spotify. Now, the way that I saw it was, okay, artists sign up, they drive traffic here, but the way that it played out and why I kind of fell back on it, not permanently, but I just was like, let me restructure things and kind of figure out a better pathway and a better way to implement it. Because the issue with it was that once the artist puts the song out, it's in the wind. And people are going to go where they go. So if they use Spotify, they're going to Spotify. If they go to Instagram, if they go to Apple Music, they go to Apple Music. The artist can't control that, So unless they're going to make it exclusive to the platform where they're going to put up a song that nobody's ever heard and say, hey, you got to go to Payusnomind Music in order to hear this, it doesn't work because people are going to go wherever it is they're going to go. So it needs to be like an exclusive thing. And in order for that to happen, then it's like, okay, well, why? What's the value to being exclusive to this platform? Now, we know monetization is one, but when it's a new platform and you don't have like the success story to say, hey, somebody did this and they made $10,000, everybody will jump on board when they hear that story. But when there's no stories, everybody's apprehensive. They're going to go with what they know. They're going to go with Spotify or whatever have you. So now I'm just like, working with individual artists and trying to find the right pairing with the right artist to kind of like basically replicate the experience of like a CD insert, but in a web page where it's like you have almost like a concept album, like it will work great for an artist that had a concept album. Like I don't know if you guys keep up with this, probably not, but like Olivia Rodrigo had dropped her album Prom or Sour Prom or something like that. And the whole thing was themed around high school and prom. So it had like the driver's license and the prom photos and stuff like that. So it's like each track page would have like custom visuals pertaining to what the song was about. So it would have pictures, background images, the song lyrics written in a certain kind of way, the credits, all of these different things would be laid out. And it would be like this engulfing experience where somebody sees that page and they are brought into your world. So it's like world building. Then they go into the next track and it's a different image and different background image and things of that nature. So it's like these visual web page albums effectively, right? And with that, it's valuable to the listener to come and experience something different, and also valuable for the artist to give the listener a reason to come. And then, from the standpoint of sponsorships and ads, finding a good way to do that and a creative way to do that, where it's like on one end, you got Google ads, which you could activate at any time. But with the artist, it might be smarter to work with like sponsors, like direct companies, like you reach out and you get an Apple Music to sponsor the page of an artist or something like that. Or you reach out to brands that you feel like work well with the artist. And like, so if the artist is socially conscious, maybe you reach out to somebody that sells hemp clothes, something like that, and get some native banner ads or something to that effect. So, that's the way that I was thinking about it for the monetization of free. Now, the thing with where artists are being steered, everybody is kind of being steered towards the sale of stuff. So everybody is like, hey, man, screw Spotify. They robbing artists. They're taking our royalties. Forget them. If you think about it, if you sell music and you get a few sales, here's how much you can make, right? Versus how much you would make from X amount of streams versus how much you would make from X amount of streams on Spotify. And that's how everybody's kind of comparing it. But the thing to consider isn't just, it's not like if you put something up for sale, people will magically buy it. If you got that already, which for a lot of artists, it takes years to cultivate, where they're on Instagram and building an audience and, doing either cover songs or freestyles or whatever have you. And then once they build an audience, they can get that audience to buy something. But you're talking about years of developing an audience and bringing them to the point where they could sell something, And outside of that, man, it's if you're cold calling where you come out with a song and you're like, hey, if you like this song and you want it, you got to buy it. Well, that's way more difficult, because people just don't value buying music anymore. So when people buy music now, it's more about the relationship they have with the artist than, hey, the only way I'm going to access this music is if I buy it. That's just not what it is. So it's a very difficult thing to do. So can you get sales? Maybe, but it's not about whether you can get sales, it's at what cost. So if it takes you $1,000 to get a sale, is it worth it to be spending $1,000 for one sale of a single, like to get a 99-cent download, spending $1,000 to get a 99-cent download, like, and that's, as crazy as it sounds, that's realistic, man. It takes some of these guys $1,000 to get one sale. And that one sale could be a 99-cent download. You know what I'm saying? So this is why people are running to streaming, because streaming is less skin in the game. It's like, hey, just listen to it. You know, nobody got to whip out no credit cards and put no money in it. You know, it's just, okay, just go listen to it. People say, I'll listen to it. You know what? I ain't mad at it. I put it on a playlist, right? And then once it's on a playlist, you know, now it's subject to whenever they play that playlist. So if it's a workout playlist and they work out once a day, then you get streamed once a day. And it ain't about how much they care about the music or whatever have you. It's just the fact that it's on that playlist, you know? So with making money from direct sales, it's about, okay, well, at what cost? How much does it cost you to get a sale? And that determines whether it's valuable and worth it to do direct sales. And if artists want to forego things like iTunes and stuff like that, now you're bringing in more expenses, right? Because now you need a domain name. That costs money. You need hosting. That costs money. You need an e-commerce solution. That costs money. You know, then you need webmaster, somebody that makes sure that that system keeps running and no issues are happening that's stopping people from being able to buy and things of that nature. Customer service, when somebody runs into a problem and needs that problem resolved because they can't buy or whatever have you, right? Like all of these different things come into that. So it's not just like roll out of bed, put your music up for sale, make money. You know, it's not as cut and dry as it is, which everybody that's out here trying to sell music understands and knows it's not an easy thing. You know, it's easy for people who have the audience already and they just put it up and it sells, but not so easy for people that don't. But speaking to that, the artists that can are moving into selling music direct to fan. So here's one thing that I saw. First off, this is the Beyonce project that I was telling you guys about before, where it's like you come here to the smart link that she has for Texas Hold'em. And this is what I was telling y'all about advertising. So this platform, Linkfire, has a partnership with Apple Music to run ads on artists' smart links. And depending on whether you're paying them or not, because they charge you a monthly fee in order to monetize your smart links. So it's not free to do. But if you're paying them, they'll give you a cut of the revenue that gets generated by this link. So Beyonce gets a percentage of the revenue that's generated every time somebody hits this page. Now, with an artist the size of Beyonce, imagine how many hits to this page she's getting. And with this, remember, everybody that clicks can land on this page. So this is not restricted in any way. It's not like Spotify where somebody got to have an account or anything like that. People don't have to press play. It's not YouTube where they got to sit through 5 seconds of an ad or something like that, or 30 seconds of an ad. Soon as they land this page, this thing shows monetized, money's generated, revenue's generated, right? So that's one thing. She's monetizing the page that she's using to drive traffic. Now, look at where she's driving traffic to, right? She's not driving traffic to Spotify. You don't see no Spotify link here. You don't see no Apple Music link here. You don't see no links to no streaming platform. It's just iTunes, 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 iTunes. And she's doing it like the old-fashioned singles. And Long Distance Traveler would remember how singles used to be, where a single was effectively multiple mixes. Like you might have the dirty mix and the radio mix, or you might have the original mix and the club mix or something like that. So would it be like the original and the club mix, or the clean version and the dirty version? Then you would have the instrumental version, right? So what would be the instrumental? It might be the acapella. So you had all of those things on a single, because technically I think they say like 3 to 4 songs is a single, and like 5 to 6 songs is like an EP or something like that, you know? So this is going backwards, right? But forwards in the sense of monetization. So here she got, hey, you could buy the original explicit, you could buy the original clean, you could buy the acapella explicit, you could buy the acapella clean, and you could buy the instrumental, right? So, or you could buy all of these things. So all of these things are monetized. Now, doubling down on this would be if she had affiliate links on these, because iTunes takes 30% of the revenue of every song that gets bought. But if you have an affiliate account with them, you get some of that back through the affiliate revenue that you get. So if these are affiliate links, then she's monetizing the page with an ad. Plus, she's driving people to buy it and not stream it. Plus, earning affiliate revenue from when people actually click these links and go and buy. So it's like 3 different things that she's monetizing. So it's like, this is what artists got to understand, man. Like, there's ways, to kind of like do things. And the reason why, because it's like, if you think about it, right? If you think about it, could Beyonce sell her music directly on her website? Sure she could. She has the resources. Could she do it on Bandcamp? Sure she could. Why? Why not? Because people go where they want to go. People shop where they shop. Some people go to Amazon. Some people go to Walmart. This is where people are. So you want your product available where people shop. When you trying to drive people to a new environment, that adds friction to the situation, where now somebody got to come. Do I trust this website? Now it's more time because I got to input my credit card information. And as I'm inputting my credit card information, I got time to think. I'm thinking about the purchase. Do I really want this? Can I afford to buy this right now? Maybe I should wait. You know what I'm saying? All of these different thoughts that might impact whether somebody buys or not. But with Apple and Amazon and things of that nature, it's what they call zombie buying. The credit card information is already there. So once somebody clicks this link to go to the iTunes store and they hit buy, it's bought, it's purchased, because there is no fill out this form, input your information, give us your address. None of that stuff is there. It's just click, bought. And then they know where it's going. It's going right to their iTunes library. So it's not like, where did that go? It's right there. So yeah, man, it's real smart. It's real smart. Loud and clear, Spotify. So Spotify is like our annual music economics report. Artists deserve clarity about the economics of music streaming. This site aims to increase transparency by sharing new data on Spotify's royalty payments and breaking down the global streaming economy, the players, and the process. Explore the site for our top 10 findings from recent data. Of course, it's amazing, right? Have they told you that it's amazing, whatever they're doing? Spotify's record payouts. So they say, okay, for another year, Spotify set the record for the highest annual payment to the music industry from any single retailer, $9 billion. That figure has nearly tripled over the past 6 years and represents a big part of the $48 billion Spotify has paid since its foundings. And then they go, additional details, if you care to know. Every year, Spotify has paid out more and more money in streaming royalties, resulting in record revenues and growth for rights holders on behalf of artists and songwriters. These rights holders include record labels, publishers, independent distributors, performance rights organizations, and collecting societies, right? More money at every level. The number of artists generating at least $1 million to $100,000 and $10,000 has nearly tripled since 2017. Just look at how many artists we're helping to make money. More money at every. Spotify royalties are powering artists' careers at all stages. In fact, the number of artists generating revenue at every threshold shared on this site, from 1,000 through 10 million to per year, has nearly tripled since 2017. Yeah. That $10 million, 1,000, that also includes people who are engaging in streaming fraud and all sorts of nefarious activities, but let's not include those guys, right? These figures represent revenues generated from Spotify alone. When taking into account earnings from other services and recorded revenue streams, these artists likely generated 4 times this revenue from recorded music sources overall, plus additional revenue from concert tickets and merch. What does that have to do with it, Spotify? Are you the driving force behind the ticket sales? Are those ticket sales coming from you? Can you say that you're responsible for 40% or 10% of those ticket sales? Maybe, maybe not though. Breaking the language barrier, over half of the artists who generated at least $10,000 on Spotify are from countries where English is not their first language. Okay, in 2000, okay, here we go. A record year for indies. A record year, guys. In 2023, indies generated nearly $4.5 billion on Spotify. This marks the first year ever that indies accounted for about half of what the entire industry generated on Spotify, which totaled $9 billion. Woo! So they're saying we paid out half of what we paid to the music industry to indies for the first time ever. The catalogs of do-it-yourself artists and artists signed to independent record labels represented about half of overall revenues generated on Spotify in 2023, totaling nearly $4.5 billion. This represents a 4 times increase since 2017. This is the highest amount indies have ever generated from a single retailer in 1 year. And you know how they followed that up? They followed that up by implementing monetization thresholds that ensures the fact that they'll never get 50% of that revenue again. We'll handle that. Hope you hear that loud and clear, right? Because this right now, so they're trying to justify the new actions that they're taking based on what happened last year before these things took place. So it's like based on last year's information. Look, guys, you see how great we are? See how much money we made for you? Now, don't worry about it. We got you. We got you. Are we stripping away your royalties? Are we totally canceling your back catalog? Sure. But why are you thinking about that? You know what I'm saying? Just focus on the good times. You had last year, didn't you? Selfish, thinking about you and your own pockets. Think about us and our pockets. The unexpected millionaires. Many of the artists who generated at least $1 million on Spotify in 2023 aren't household names and didn't need a hit song to have a big year. 80% of them didn't have a song reach the top 50 of Spotify's daily global songs charts. Yeah, because they were doing a mass quantity thing. They were putting out a lot of releases and earning money over a number of releases that culminated in a lot of money, which Spotify cited in their reasoning for implementing a threshold per song of 1,000 streams. Because they said, oh, you're gaming the system if you flood the network with a whole bunch of releases and try to make a lot of money by making a little bit of money per release. Music publishing hits a new mark. Spotify paid out nearly $4 billion to publishing rights holders over the last 2 years. Okay, now the thing about the Spotify thing too is that they're only paying 20% of the revenue that you're owed. So if you're not signed up with Songtrust or the MLC, we got a link to Songtrust in the description box. But if you're not signed up to one of those companies, then you're not getting paid any of the royalties that Spotify owes you. Now, even with that, if you don't write the songs, you're not getting paid anything, So if you are a recording artist that went and paid somebody to write a song for you to perform, you get nothing. Absolutely nothing. Isn't that amazing? Artist career growth, the streaming opportunity. A radio station spins the top 40 tracks. A recorded store carries the music of a few thousand artists. In 2023, 50,000 artists generated at least $16,000 from Spotify. All right, it's a lot of patting themselves on the back. The growing number of streams. Okay, top 10 takeaways. Yo, all right, let's get out of here. You know something, man? You want to know something, man? Something that really grinds my gears, as Peter Griffin would say. Really grinds my gears, really burns my bacon. Is a lot of the language around their reasoning for stripping the artist payments away. Now, I don't want to get into the wheelhouse of crying over spilt milk And this is why I started to show off. We're talking about Vevo and just talking about direct monetization through your own website and stuff like that, man, and showing you Beyonce, sending people to iTunes and things of that nature, because it is what it is. You can't force these people to change. You know, they're going to do what they do. Universal Music Group is part owners of Spotify. They own it, you know, or a percentage of it. So Spotify is required to do what's in the interest of the company that owns them. And they have to figure out a way to justify it, to not have it be a public relations nightmare where their audience and the artists turn on them because they need those guys in order to continue to make money, right? So, hey, at the end of the day, I doubt if they're going to reverse course. But what I find disgusting is a lot of the tweets that they send out and the articles that they write justifying it. Like they put up a recent article where they talk about how basically streaming, they try to compare it to football. They try to compare it to soccer. They say, hey, this money that we're taking away from GIF, this money that we're taking away from Long Distance Traveler, this money that we're taking away from an artist like L.A. Mars, this money that we're taking away from these guys, they're hobbyists. They don't even care about this money. These guys are just playing around. They're not serious. They're not real artists. And that right there burns me up, you know? To say that these guys aren't real artists because of what? Because each song doesn't get 1,000 streams a month? Really? You know, or a year rather, right? That's the measure. That's the measuring stick for who's a real artist, for who's not an amateur. They talk about soccer where they're saying this is like how you got people who play in the soccer leagues who are like official players. And then you got people who like basically just play soccer in their yard. And that's what they're comparing us to. People that play soccer in their yard. Just take a soccer ball, go to the yard, kick it around a bit. And then it's like, well, do those people deserve to be paid a FIBA salary for kicking the ball around in their yard? Like, does that make sense? And then it's like, yo, what? Are they dumb? No, that is not what's happening here. This is like FIBA going to those people playing soccer in their yard saying, hey, won't you guys come play in FIBA, right? Allowing those guys to come play in FIBA, throwing a jersey on them, letting them go out on the field, and then saying, you know what? Because you're not one of the top players, we're not going to pay you at all. You play for free. To a great effect, man, you know what I'm saying? They are recruiting because the whole pitch for the platform is we have music for you, the listener, right? Whatever you want. And when you go to Spotify, you're looking for whatever song you want to hear. Doesn't mean that the song is popular. You just want whatever it is you want to hear. So it can be an obscure track. It can be anything. And if it's not there, then you value Spotify less. So somebody that prefers obscure tracks that nobody else likes, if they go to Spotify, they can't find those songs, they don't subscribe. And that's why Spotify is like, listen. Yeah, we're not paying you, but still give us your music, right? Because listen, tomorrow, right? Who knows? You could get 1,000 streams. It's not that you won't, right? Don't doubt yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe that you're going to get 1,000 streams. Come give us your music so these people don't unsubscribe because they can't find it here. And if you don't get paid, don't worry about it. Better luck next time, right? That's the that's the trap that they want to loop you in because they need your music. That your music adds value to their platform. They just don't want to pay you for the value that your music adds to the platform. And then they're insulting us by saying that we're not real artists to validate the fact that we're not getting paid. So it's like if I have songs under 1,000 streams today, I'm not a real artist. But if I wake up tomorrow and my songs got 1,000 streams, I am. Like, really? You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got classically trained pianists. You know what I'm saying? World renowned. I know musicians. My man Ornell and his cultural arts people that make world music. These people have won Grammys. These people sit on the Grammy board. These people travel the world performing for royalty and things of that nature, dedicated their lives to musicianship. These are classically trained, highly educated musicians. You know what I'm saying? That if they put a song up on Spotify, it might get 10 streams because the music isn't popular for streaming. And you're going to say that some kid in his bedroom that decides to record some silly song and puts it up, maybe he records a dog farting and puts it to a beat. He puts it up on Spotify, that gets 10 million streams or whatever have you. You're saying that that guy is more of a real artist, a real musician, professional musician than a world-renowned, Grammy-winning, world tour. You know what I'm saying? Let me calm down, right? Because that is what agitates me about what they're saying. You know, beyond stripping the royalties away, it just, come on, dude, don't insult us, man. Don't insult us, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't add that insult to injury right there. It's like, okay, you taking the royalties, just keep it funky, man. You know, we want to take the money. You know, we got people that we got to pay more to, whatever, right? All of this, come on, man. I can't rock with that, yo. But yeah, let me tap in. Let me see who in the building. Let me shout people out. Let me get to questions if you have them. You know, if not, then we get on up out of here, good people, right? So we got Zope Belafonte, my guy. We got Chris Cash Music. If you in the building, tap in so I can shout you out and all of that good stuff, man. We got Long Distance Traveler. We got Normalized Audio, right? Jerry NRG, my guy, was good. Yeah, man. So let's see. Long Distance Traveler was like, there might not be any barrier to YouTube, but all these commercials in the middle of a live stream is annoying. Yeah, I mean, listen, they are trying to make as much money as they possibly can. And the reality of the situation is, it's like, you know, I have somewhat control over that. Like when I set the live stream, I could go in and configure it to be less aggressive, you know, to not show as many ads, you know, so that is partly my fault too. Right. But yeah, at the same time, man, you know, you got to generate revenue. You know, it's like money makes the world go round, you know, so it's like it's a caveat, or it's not really a caveat. It's like it's basically like a trade off, man, because it's like I could turn off all ads if everybody that watched the live stream was like, hey, I'll give $1. I'll give $1 a month to gift to watch the live stream. And then that would be like, what, like maybe $400 a month or whatever. Then it's like, hey, we could turn the ads off. That's more than what these live streams make in ad revenue. You know what I'm saying? But the reality of the situation, maybe most people don't want to do that. Now, I've never given people the option to do that, like, because I'd rather the live stream be free for everybody to access. But it's like, I could be like, you know what, it's exclusive, you know. If you want the live stream, pay $1, you know what I'm saying? I just, you know, I don't know. Yeah, man. So yeah, I look at what Spotify is doing. I think that's whack. I look at what Beyonce did with iTunes and monetizing the smart link. You know, I think that is smart, and that is something that I am seeking to replicate, but in a more advanced way with individual artists. So if you are an artist and you have a vision for your work, you know, definitely reach out and let's work on something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, man. This is what we're doing, you know? DJ Bushi, what's good, man? Good to see you in the building, fam. Word, man. So, yeah, I'm going to get on up out of here, man. It's been good chatting with y'all guys, man. As always, if y'all want to hit me up, you can at Payusnomind on Instagram, at Payusnomind on Twitter, payusnomind@gmail.com. This is GIF. Just as I was about to end it, right? Just when you thought it was safe, Onyx hit you in your face. Slam. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Let the boys be boys. DJ Bushi was like, these are doing the same thing, like Spotify doing. I mean, it's not just Spotify. It's like universal. with a lot of the streaming platforms. So what's going to be interesting is those April royalty reports, because a lot of these things were implemented like in January. So it's going to be interesting in April and May. Those royalty reports, April and May's royalty reports are going to be really interesting, because if your songs don't meet these thresholds, you will have $0 for April and May's royalty reports. So that's where the rubber's going to meet the road when we hit April and May, you know. If Fetche Music said, I would support you. I'm from the Caribbean. Sending money on YouTube doesn't work for us. Yeah, that's the thing too, right? Currency conversions and things of that nature. You know, now, let me ask you, Fetche, man, you know, because how does it work? Because people talk about cryptocurrency being like a work through, right? Like a workaround, you know, so it's like Bitcoin is like borderless. So it's like, how does it work with something like that? Like, is it different if you had to pay for something through PayPal or through Stripe or Bitcoin or something like that? What's the best way for somebody in your country to be able to pay for something in America? And that interests me from multiple aspects, not just from the standpoint of paying for anything on this channel, but even from the standpoint of like paying for distribution and services and stuff like that. Because I hear a lot of artists complain about the markup and currency conversions and stuff like that, man. So yeah, it's just something I'm interested in knowing. Jerry NRG is like, and an ad played. Word up. Bonnie the Bunny. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Bonnie? Word up, man. DJ Bushi asks, is Bandcamp dying out? I don't think Bandcamp is dying out. I think a lot of people are unhappy with whatever, because I don't use Bandcamp, but a lot of people are unhappy with whatever changes they see since the platform has changed hands. Now, I've never been a fan of Bandcamp. You know, I think, one breakdown of the platform, and it just never made sense for me. Because one thing, it's like, it's charity, right? It's not a serious e-commerce solution, because you got no conversion tracking, you got no control over like conversion optimization or anything like that. So you couldn't really like run an advertising campaign, driving traffic to Bandcamp or nothing like that. It's really something that's set up if somebody has an audience that want to support them, and you just send people there and they say, hey man, you know, I love this guy so much. You know what? I'm going to give him $100, right? And it's set up for that. It's charity. It's not like, I want this and I want to buy it and I'm just advertising to people who want it, and I'm, you know, like it's not configured for that. And then on top of that, there's fees. So it's like they was taking 15% of revenue. Then on top of the 15% of revenue, if you wanted access to like independent data that you control, then it was like they were charging you $10 a month to be able to patch in Google Analytics. And then even with Google Analytics, they weren't giving you access to like the checkout flow. So you couldn't see what happened when somebody added something to their cart and got the checkout, where you couldn't see things like abandon rate, like whether people actually went through with the process. So it's like, it's easy to get happy with whatever you got when you don't know what you're missing. So if you get 100 sales, but you're used to not getting any sales, then you're like, great, I got 100 sales. But if you're able to see like the checkout drop-off rates, and you see, damn, I got 1,000 people that added it to their cart, got to the checkout, and then didn't want to pay in the only way that Bandcamp allows them to pay, so they abandoned the cart. And then if you see, damn, I lost like 900 people, maybe you switch platforms and go and use something like Shopify or something like that, that allows you to give people multiple ways to pay other than just PayPal or something to that effect. So they don't give you that kind of access, so you can't analyze the checkout flow. It's just very basic. It can be expensive. And then they do Bandcamp Friday, where they say, hey, we'll waive the fees on this one day. But dude, they've been raking you over the coals for months, charging you $10 for access to your own information. Bonnie the Bunny says, you know about plants versus Zombies. It's a cool game. You should play it. Nah, never heard of it. Bandcamp. I thought I was the only one. I know artists that's been faithful to it for years. I mean, yeah, man, you got a lot of artists that have been rocking with Bandcamp. It works for some people. Some people have that altruistic audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to know your audience. I would say that. You got to know your audience. So it's like, for some people, they can send out an email, right? And they can be like somewhat emotional or appeal to different sensibilities. Where I've seen people send out an email where it's like, hey guys, I know I don't want to bother you, I just wanted to reach out and say, hey, I really appreciate you guys, because people don't usually tell people how much they appreciate them. And I just want to let you guys know I love you. If you haven't ever heard me say it, I really appreciate you and I love you and all this other stuff, and be all sappy and sorry in that email and be like, yeah, and make a pitch. And, I got this project coming and hey, we're doing this thing. And if you guys can support us in this all gee, all shucks kind of way, and they have the audience that would be like, okay, yeah, let me support you, right? And then you got another artist that might send that out to their audience and people will be like, simp, you know what I'm saying? Cornball, right? Take me off your mailing list, because that's not the audience that they have, So it's like, it's all about the type of fan base that somebody has, and the type of people that are into your music. And for a lot of artists, they don't have the type of audience that would volunteer money. They have an audience that's like, yo, what am I getting for my money? If you giving me something that I want, I'll pay for it. If you're not giving me anything I want, then I'm not paying you nothing. And that's the audience that they have, and the Bandcamp audience is an audience that are like patrons. They just are supporting artists. And it's not so much about demand and whether they actually want the release. It's just, hey, I feel like artists should make a living and I'm going to contribute to artists making a living. DJ Bushi says, Universal makes me sick. I mean, they're really aggressive in these times, man. They're trying to maintain their control and their revenue and things of that nature. What's going to be interesting is to see how this whole thing with TuneCore and Warner Music Group shakes out, and whether Warner Music Group comes out on top with being able to take ownership of TuneCore. That's going to be really interesting, because if they do that, then the entire landscape changes. Everything changes if Warner Music Group owns TuneCore, because then there's going to start an arms race. And all the other record companies are going to start buying up all the other digital distributors. And, then it's not going to be any more digital distributors. It's going to be, record labels, basically subsidiaries of record companies, Word. Now, Chris Cash Music says, where will the industry be? And what's that? What you say? Hold on, man. I can't see fully. What do you say, 100 years? Your thoughts. Hold on. Let me check this on YouTube so I can see the full comment, because it kind of blocks it out when I'm looking at it from the back end. All right. Where will the industry be in 10 years? Your thoughts. I think in 10 years, the industry is going to be dominated by AI and music generated by artificial intelligence. And I think artists are going to make their money through licensing their voices and, to some effect, their mental capacity, right? How they process creation. And you already have that happening now, where effectively, I forget, it was a platform I got on my email where they basically selling like artist brains, where they did something with the artist. Maybe they asked them a series of questions, whatever have you, but they effectively find a way to get these artists je ne sais quoi and allow people to come in and create art using these artists' creative brains, And that's where we're going. So it's like everything that we talk about now with monetizing music in a sense of like music that you created, songs that you made personally, right? Like, I feel like that's going to go away. You know, like it's not going to be about the songs you create anymore. Like the money 10 years from now is being made now. And not in the sense of making money, but in the sense of building a brand. Because 10 years from now, it's going to be about your brand and not like the actual thing that you created. So it's like you could have songs, but the people who are going to make all of the money are going to be the people with the recognizable voice that people can use to have an AI program sing songs in the, you know, so it's like I can go in and have an AI program sing songs in Drake's voice. Or I can go in and have an AI program sing songs in Kanye West's voice, because people recognize Kanye West's voice. People recognize Drake's voice. And I know that I can get attention when I do that. Or even for brands to be able to use their voice to voice over commercials and be characters in movies and things of that nature. So it's like they'll be able to just license it and say, yo, give me X amount or give me equity and whatever, and you guys just take my voice and do what you want with it, right? And that's where things are heading, you know, or you have a certain writing style and you upload songs to an AI program that mimics your writing style, and people can go and be like, write a song in the style of, and create songs and things of that nature, right? But it's no more you creating the songs. It's no more you like actually singing the songs. It's just you licensing your creative ability and your voice. That's where I think things are going 10 years from now. Just licensing, you know? So it's like the actual music won't be the thing, because it's just going to be too much music. Everybody's going to be making music. We're going to move out of the need for somebody to actually have a great voice to sing. We're going to move out of somebody being able to, or having to need to be a great songwriter to write songs. You know what I'm saying? We already moved out of people needing to know how to really produce, because you got these programs with like preset beats, basically, like everything is already configured, you know? So it's like, that's where everything is kind of going. Yeah. So I'm going to get on up out of here, good people, man. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. You know, as always, y'all can hit me up at Payusnomind on Instagram or at Payusnomind on Twitter. This is Gift signing off. Pay us no mind. Peace, good people. One. Y'all be good out there, man. Word up.
American elected in the United States. I'm supporting David Trone. He believes in opportunities for Latinos. And he's the only candidate who hasn't taken a nickel from special interest money. David Trone is the only candidate we can trust.